Joe Kent is a U.S. Army veteran who served in Iraq. He's running to represent Washington State in the Congress. He's definitely one of the good guys. We're honored to have him on our show tonight. Joe Kent, thanks for coming on. You're the first in our lineup this evening, so I'd ask you for your baseline perceptions here. What do you think of what you've seen today?
Well, today's been an absolute tragedy, but unfortunately, I think we're seeing over nearly 2 decades of lies come unraveling. The U.S. military has been saying for nearly 2 decades we've built this Afghan government and this Afghan army, and that they were worthy of the sacrifice of our brave young men and women, and that they would hold. And then we're also seeing the lies of the Biden administration come unfolding as well. There was a hard plan and a deal to get us out by May, but Biden did not want to execute President Trump's plan to get us out by May, the deal that he negotiated from a position of strength. Instead, he wanted to cut a separate deal, his own deal, that gave the Taliban 3 months of prime fighting season time to plan this assault that we're seeing now. And now we are completely at the mercy of the Taliban, and our troops are hostages, essentially. And we are not taking proactive steps to go on the offensive to get our people out of there. We're prioritizing refugees and anyone but Americans. It's an absolute disgrace.
It does seem pretty clear that in a situation like this, obviously it's complex, lots of moving parts. You know, I always give people the benefit of the doubt to some extent because, you know, it's hard. But any normal person who loved his country would say job one is getting our citizens out. That comes before everything else. There's no question. I mean, anybody, any normal person would decide to do that. But they haven't. Why?
No, that's absolutely correct. The only reason that I can think of is just the culture that the Biden administration has set from day one. They opened up our southern border. They're letting thousands of illegal refugees in that way, illegal immigrants pushed in by the cartel. The Biden administration's national security establishment ran by Lloyd Austin, Blinken, Sullivan, all of them. They are part of this culture that believes America is a power in descent and that we are not a unique nation or an important nation. And that culture has echoed throughout the national security apparatus. And now we are prioritizing getting Afghans out of the country. And the only reason that I can think of to get all these unvetted Afghans out as fast as we are trying to get them out is to pump even more refugees into the heartland of this country. That seems to be the top priority of this administration. And again, it's a complete and total disgrace, and it's completely and totally reckless.
So you're part of the despised group that actually fights our wars. You know, working class kid from the Pacific Northwest. You joined young, you got married, your wife was killed fighting one of these wars. I mean, how much of their contempt do you feel personally as you watch them make these decisions?
I feel an incredible amount of contempt and resentment. So my wife was killed about a month after Trump attempted to get our troops out of Syria the first time. Every time that we attempt to end a war, the military-industrial complex fails catastrophically. Under Trump, they double-crossed him and lied every step of the way to leave our troops in harm's way. He tried to get us out of Afghanistan as well. He finally came up with a deal to get us out in May. The military-industrial complex has now lied to President Biden. They did not prepare us to get out right now, according to Biden's timeline. Biden should have never made that deal. He should have had us out in May. And the military-industrial complex should have not lied to a duly elected president. That's President Trump, not President Biden. They shouldn't have lied to either one, and they should have had a plan to get us out. But it's clear that they didn't. I can feel the contempt. The politicians and the military-industrial complex, the unelected bureaucrats, they treat us just as cannon fodder to make their political gains. And we do not have to take that anymore. This is our country, and we need to start taking it back. It's all crumbling apart right now. The illegitimacy of the Biden administration and the illegitimacy of our permanent ruling class.
Man, you're making me upset just hearing those words because they're so clearly true. And I think anyone listening tonight who's lived in this country for the last 20 years knows that what you said is exactly right. And my last question to you, not to increase the level of bitterness here, but there are a lot of people responsible for the debacle that we're seeing now, for the deaths of those 13 Marines, the Navy corpsmen, today. And you wonder if any of them will ever be held accountable for what they did.
They will be held accountable. We are going to take the House and the Senate back in 2022, and we are going to hold a full inquiry on all of our wars, starting with this incident, starting with this botched withdrawal, and essentially working our way backwards. We know that we've been lied to about Afghanistan for years now. The Afghan papers that came out last year that the media ran coverage for, that all started to expose the lies. We know Iraq was based on lies. There will be accountability when we take our country back, and that's why I'm running for Congress, to take this nation back.
Man, we are rooting for you. Joe Kent of Washington State, thanks so much.